Hello and welcome to Transformation Now. Hi, I'm Rita, rocker, speaker, author, trainer with SoaringHigher.rocks. And I'm here to continue on a message that I believe is of utmost importance, especially these days. The first part was called From Alarming to Astounding, because our life definitely has a lot of alarming things going on right now, but how we can overlook those and go forward and be strong no matter what's beating down around us, which is a lot these days, and not to stay down in a defeated position, but by our mindsets and our determination, go forward, because it's possible. As I shared last time, there's like, I don't know, a bazillion examples of people without limbs who've been completely burned, who have lost everything, and like recently in Hawaii, everything just totally destroyed. And yet we can have the resolve, we can have the strength to go forward with God's help. And I know that's how I'm doing it. And you really can move forward in that. So, a lot of it has to do with fear of, again, like I said, rejection, failure, abandonment, or any other fears that we have of not being able to do something, keep something, whatever the case may be. And so, but I like the comparison here is fear is a dark room that develops your negatives. The old way of taking photos was you put a roll of film into your camera, and then you took the pictures, and then you took it to a photo lab, photo store, somewhere like that, and they processed the pictures, unless you had your own dark room to do that. And I did some developing a long time ago in a dark room. But so what happens then is you go back to the store, you pick up your pictures, and they also give you the developed roll of film that's now out of the camera because it's been exposed to the lighting and the process. And you can hold up the roll of negatives, and you can see, well, isn't this odd? Because it's just the opposite of what it is on the picture. And it looks very strange because the light is dark, the darkest light is just opposite. And so it's very interesting that way. So negatives is the color of the negative is opposite the color that will present itself in the photo. It's just the opposite. And so the lights, darks, colors are opposite of the printed version of the negative. And it's really interesting. It's actually fascinating. So you develop a positive from the negative by going through the process. And again, it's our mindset, it's what we think, what will we allow to happen in our lives, what we won't allow, because we are allowing a lot of things we have no choice over. When something devastating happens, like in Hawaii, that wasn't their choice. But now it's up to the people to help each other out and to move forward in something that's, horrifically painful. So just like photos, the negative to the positive, we turn our lives photos around the same way by constantly flipping, by constantly turning. Like I mentioned last program, sometimes I've literally had to tell myself to shut up because I was allowing all these negative, hurtful things to go through my brain. And it was like, no, that's past, that's over. That can't touch me now. I'm not gonna let it affect me anymore. Give it the boot. And so you can overcome fears of rejection, failure, other people's opinions, which nowadays it's just the massive with social media and texting. Other people's opinions have totally devastated some people's lives. They don't have the right to do that. Like I said before, it's a blip on the radar screen. It happened, it's gone. I am not going to let that take root in my life. That is not a seed that I'm going to let be planted and take root and grow into weeds that are going to keep me from all the good stuff that I deserve, because we all deserve the good stuff. So opinions, feelings about our education or our finances or a myriad of other issues, that does not determine who we are. It is not about our worth. We're children of God. We're worth everything, okay? Because He's our Father. So fear and faith both project into the future. They do. They really do. And what we say is what we get. And, when I hear people say, oh, gee, my mind anymore, I can't think of things, or, oh my gosh, I'm just getting old so fast, or, oh my gosh, I know this thing's going to happen to me down the road because this is happening to me now. And I keep hearing confessions like that. So what happens down the road? They get what they've been believing for. Because, like I said, our focus goes, our energy flows, right? And so that's what's happening, is more of the same. And so, we have to think about that. He who aims at nothing shall surely hit it every time. And that is so true. What we believe to be true is, whether it is or not, because in our mind, that's what we think is true. And a lot of times it's not at all. And I've dealt with that a lot in my own life. So they both project into the future. So think about that. And bring the unseen into the seeing realm. And I know people do that a lot with manifesting, with visualizing, but the most successful people, like I've talked about Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi before, as well as other people, star athletes, people like that, what did they do? They brought the unseen into the seen realm because they practice. They practiced until they were world champion skier. They practiced till they were world champion ballet dancer or musician. What did they do? Look at the Olympics. They brought that into the real world by practicing their buns off, like maybe 7-8 hours a day. So they had to work the process to do that. But then what happened? They brought it to reality. And that's what we have to do, shutting off behaviors and relationships and things. Like I mentioned before, if we sit on the couch all night and we've got a bag of chips or donuts, and all we're doing is watching things, especially things that have a lot of anger and things like that in them, we're miserable. Or we can turn those off, maybe grab an apple, get something a little more healthy, or some healthy kind of popcorn, and start watching educational programs, inspirational programs, things that are building up your mind. I'm doing that all the time. I hardly ever watch any regular movies or anything because I'm so fascinated with learning. And it doesn't matter how old we are. We can be 7 years old, we can be 85, whatever. We can still learn and grow and share those experiences and that knowledge with other people. And so that's what's really in my heart, and I hope it is in yours as well. So bringing the unseen into the seeing realm by practicing it, by believing it, continuously visualizing until you've manifested it. I used to think a lot of that was, maybe somewhat true, somewhat baloney, but no, as I've seen it happen in so many lives of people, if we focus on the good, then eventually we're repelling the bad, and that energy won't even come near us anymore because we're not wearing that kind of energy that says, oh, I'm vulnerable and I'm needy and I'm no good, because a lot can happen when we do that. And so then we have that energy that pushes people away from us or brings in the wrong kind of people that we don't want to be around. And so think about that. It requires planting the positive seeds, like I meant seeds. Every word is a seed. Every experience is a seed. So continually visualizing seeds of work. That means work. We have to work for these things, unless we have some very rich person that's going to drop money in our lap, which is, only a few people. We have to work for it, but it's worth it, and it gives positive things that we do every day. Love. Sometimes, like I mentioned before, hey, if somebody's giving you a lot of grief and hatred, hit them back with love. Hit them back with something that they can't fight, because you're not giving them any ammunition to fight back with. They'll just shut up. But a lot of times, if you show them love or respect and they're being mean a lot of times because they are wounded inside. They have been hurt so much themselves that they're striking back. I don't want you to reject me, so I'm going to reject you first. That way I'm not getting the rejection and feeling bad because I'm going to reject you first. That happens all the time. And this person hurt me and that person hurt me, so therefore I'm going to take it out on you, and I'm going to try to make myself look better by making you look bad. That's happening all over the world. That's happening so much. So we can fight that, though, by not feeding into that. And then focus. What are we focusing on? I keep talking about that because it is everything. Our mindsets are everything, and what we intend, what we allow, and what we don't allow. And then taking the action that's necessary every day. It might be one step at a time. It might be just adjusting some things with diet, and then it might be trying to get a little exercise, and just to feel better, even if nothing else. So there are a lot of things that we can do. Get online, Google subjects that you are very interested in, that are be positive, that are about the things that you're interested in, whether maybe you want to become a master gardener, maybe you want to learn how to do public speaking. Get online and learn those things. You can go on YouTube and honestly, you can learn anything. I'm going to start having some programs pretty soon that I need to finish up on the mastermind program where people can go in. I mean, you know, one person created one on like skin disorders, and somebody created one on fly fishing. So it doesn't have to be about educational things per se. It could be about any topic that people are interested in, and get on there and learn. And then you can provide programs of what you learn, your skills, your abilities to other people. And so that's important, and then you can get paid for it too. So think about that. So feed, which, you know, what is feeding? It's a conduit for supplying something to a goal or, you know, achieve a goal. So you will shape your life by the choices that you make. And I'm saying the word choice so much and aloud because that's really what it's all about. And I had to keep going after that until it finally sunk in my head. Hey, who's responsible? Who's the one that's allowing things to happen or not? Right here, right here. And so ask yourself, which emotions will I allow to be stronger? Self-love, self-hate, respecting myself, knowing that I'm smart and that I'm a good person, or am I going to allow ones to continue like, oh yeah, you're not worth anything. Nobody's ever going to want you. Yeah, you might as well get some menial little job because that's all you can do. That's a bunch of baloney. And so we don't want to think about that. So the more fervent one always wins. So, you know, we've been in the wilderness. A lot of us have been in the wilderness, and we need to cross over into that land of transformation. Think about that in your mind, where you are. Think about the land of transformation over here. What's waiting for you if you put in the focus and the energy to go there? For starters, you know, sometimes when I get down and I think, oh my gosh, you know, why am I in this situation I am right now? And it's like, hey, you know what? I'm healthy for the most part. And start claiming I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wise. Maybe you don't feel that way, but start claiming it. Sometimes when I get really down and, you know, get in the pity party, it's like, hey, wait a second. You can see, you can hear, you can walk, you can talk. You have a roof over your head. You have food in your stomach. You have a car to drive. You may not think it's the most wonderful in the world, but hey, you have a car to drive. You have all these, you know, and I start thinking of when I was in Haiti, and it's like, my gosh, I have a toothbrush. How many people are sticking their finger in the dirty water in the curb trying to clean their teeth? How many people are starving and have no place to call home? Or they have to go 5 miles to get a bucket of water, and I mean, there's just filth. And it's like, whoa, stop it, stop it. Count your blessings and think about all the things that you really do have to be grateful for. That can totally change your mind and your heart. And the more gratitude we show and we have towards God, towards other people, etc., towards ourselves, it can really transform your life. So gratitude is huge because, again, that makes us focus on the positive and not sit over here on the pity pot with the negative things that we really want to get away from. So think about that, you know, and claim that like a medicine. A merry heart does good like a medicine. You know, sometimes that means just watching something funny or reading something that's beautiful and all of that. I am going to start reading a book called The Kabul Beauty School because I will hopefully be working with some kids in high school, like seniors. And it's a true story. And a lady went to Kabul, Afghanistan, and it's all about the thing. I've only read the first few pages, but it's all about life there. So I'll be talking to the kids. There's more boys and girls actually in the program on gender roles. But just to think about the things that happen to us possibly and how we can overcome those, how we don't have to let the things and the treatment a lot of times be what determines the rest of our lives. So I'm eager to sit down and read this book because it's very well applauded for everything that's in it and even trying to find the good in the hard times as well. So start journaling. I used to journal. I'm kind of starting that back up a little bit because when you journal and then maybe 6 months down the road, you can go back and you go, oh my gosh, well, because I focused on it, because I was allowing good things and not allowing bad things. I see this changed, that changed, that changed. I'm a lot stronger. I'm a lot more spunky, whatever the case may be. So I would highly recommend starting to journal every day. Before you go to bed would be good. If you can only do it in the morning, maybe on a lunchtime. Start journaling some things that are going on, your thoughts. Always put something positive in there that you're going to focus on too. And so create positive thoughts where frustrating circumstances may have emerged. And one is, I get to plan my day because I am in charge of what happens to me. Now, I know that's a pretty strong statement because a lot of times we aren't for different reasons, but you plant that in your mind. And then it's like, oops, here comes another unexpected event to my day. All right, we get that. We get that. I've had a lot of that lately. However, I will deal appropriately with anyone or anything that seeks to upset my day. This is my day and I can overcome. God created me and he will strengthen me, give me wisdom. You have to ask for the wisdom, and make my path straight. And so that could even be, okay, I'm going to plan. Now, I know this person I work with is cantankerous and probably going to say or do whatever. So I'm going to plan ahead of time. How do I react? I'm going to keep calm this time. I'm not going to shoot back negative, harsh, angry things back at the person. I may have a resolution I'll work on to try to resolve maybe an issue between us, whatever the case may be. Can do that a lot at home too. So just think about that and think about, okay, when this happens again, how am I going to act this time? I'm not going to feed the fire anymore. No. And so think of what you will do differently to just squash that if necessary. So journaling can be very positive, and you can look back and think, oh, well, when I changed my attitude on this and responded this way, look how my life has changed. Look how my job has changed. Look how my relationship with someone has changed. So you can see it happening. And so when someone says something about you, again, either positive or negative, it will plant that seed into the soil of your life, into your mind, into your heart. And at that very moment, not later, not tomorrow, at that very moment, you have to determine if you're going to allow that seed to take root and grow into self-sabotaging weeds. Because if you dwell on what is said or done to you, and that's easy to do, you're watering and fertilizing the damaging seed, and it will manifest in your life. So I know I'm kind of repeating, but that is so strong, it's so important that we realize we can't entertain those things anymore. We can't let that seed get buried in us, in our heart, in our mind, to grow and think, oh, I'm a reject. Oh, this person rejected me. How? Okay. Yeah, well, I might as well quit and try not to have friends or a partner or anything anymore because, hey, look what's happened. No, wrong thinking. So stop it every time, immediately, and then shift and meditate on positive thoughts and blessings throughout the day. You know, I'm beautiful, I'm handsome, I'm wonderful, I'm intelligent, I am well loved. Maybe you don't feel that way. Say it anyway. Look in the mirror, smile at yourself. Tell yourself positive things, because I've seen so many testimonies when people do that, their lives really do change, because that's what they're attracting. That's what they believe in their mind. And that's what happens then. So these thoughts can be as basic, again, like I said, I can see, I can hear, I can walk, I can talk, and I have food to eat. Just basics. You know, I get a hot shower, and I'm thanking God still after all these years from when I went to Haiti for having that, because I know what happens to a lot of people, and they have nothing. And so think about that. I mean, I have seen pictures of little kids eating mud pie. Horrible. Just to have something in their stomach. And so, hey, we are blessed, and we need to be a lot more grateful, I believe, than a lot of people are. So now, really, we are really blessed. So nourish those seeds and watch them grow. Watch them grow. And like when I mentioned that auto mechanic that had no legs, and he's working like crazy, and he's lifting up heavy tires with no bottom half to him in the wheelchair. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this guy. Look at this guy. He is doing everything, because he wasn't going to let that make him just sit in a home all day and do nothing. He was out there contributing and making powerful changes. And I just love that. I just admired that. So visualize what you want to draw into your life, and how to, and then it will happen. Even people like John Assaraf and Tony Robbins and Ian Graziosi, all these, that are now multi-millionaire billionaires, I guess, a couple of them. Why? They had horrible testimonies in their growing up years, especially Tony's, but I mean, they're all horrible and reject, and oh yeah, I was in jail, or I was this and I was that, and I was homeless and sleeping in a bathroom and all this kind of stuff. And yet, why are they, I know one's a multimillionaire, I think the other two are billionaires. Why? Because what they did was they visualized, they fashioned in their mind, and they took the step necessary, even though it was hard. It was really hard, but they kept going. I was like, no, I'm just as smart, I'm as good, I'm dedicated, I want to help other people, which is a big key, wanting to help other people. It's not all about us, it's all about the world, because we're all God's kids, and to do that. And so I'm thinking, no, it doesn't matter. These guys are incredible, but their hearts are to serve other people, and they didn't let that stuff that happened to them determine their worth and their value, and that they would just kind of grovel on the ground. No. I mean, and with Tony, he's providing like multi-millions of meals to people in different parts of the world too, because he knows what it's like to be hungry. Okay, I do too. But, so think about that and go forward. So visualize what you want to draw to you into your life, because those things will happen then. It's all about focus, and it's all about determination. So thoughts that have been hindering me and keeping me in the wilderness. Okay, we all have so many thoughts about, I can't do this. I mean, I was always told from a young age, I was worthless. All right, so quit everything I started. It wasn't verbally spoken, but it was, evident. And attracting the wrong kind of people, because this is what I deserve. And so think about that. What has been hindering you? Is it a person, a place, a thing, an experience, a neighborhood, something a coach said, a teacher said, a parent said, siblings? Maybe this sibling's the star of the family, and they're really good at sports and all this stuff, and I'm a nerd, I want to be into the tech world, and so therefore my father thinks because there's a sports person over there. So what are the things that have been hindering and keeping you in your wilderness? I mean, I love to see stories where there's a total transformation, like this one was of a doctor, and he was making a powerful impact on people's lives. However, he wasn't fulfilled at all. So he eventually got out of medical practice, and he loved making jewelry. He loved working with turquoise and silver. And so this medical doctor left all that, moved to a really cool, I don't remember which one it was, mountain town, opened up a shop where he could create beauty. And that's what he ended up doing. And so, think about that. You see like the young girl that was a Miss Teen USA, who was a foster child and had nothing, that won the national pageant with a $39 evening gown, and a foster mom, compared to everybody else, because she had the stamina and the will. Or the young girl who was pretty much through her high school years living in homeless shelters with her mother, and she gets a full ride scholarship to Harvard. And so there was a finance guy, I can't remember his name, one time, Will Smith played the actual role of the guy. It was a true story. And he had nothing, and he had a little boy. The wife had left, and when the lights were supposed to be off at the facility that he was, but there was a light in the hallway, he's putting his book down on the floor that he's studying from. He ended up being a very successful finance man, trying to get light from under the door to read his book. Or little kids that don't have any electricity, I've seen in other countries, and they're studying, and their parents don't have any money for electricity to see, and they're sitting out in the curb outside doing their homework in the weather, whatever, because they weren't going to let their situation hold them back. And so, I love stories like that, because it's all in what we determine we want to do with our lives. So what are the thoughts that have been holding you back and keeping you in wilderness? And, could be all kinds of things. Sometimes I've heard where the things that were said, like if somebody was pregnant and they really didn't want the baby, and maybe they were just an angry person or an abused person or something, that actually apparently goes into the baby, into the womb, and can affect that baby if it keeps experiencing those things once it's born. So we have to think about that too. Sounds kind of crazy, but I guess it's true. So new thoughts replacing the old ones that will now help steer me in the right direction. So what are my new thoughts? What do I want to do? What am I valuing? What are those new thoughts? So think about it and write it down. I don't care how impossible it seems, just like some of the people I've been mentioning, that doesn't matter. So what are the thoughts that I'm going to replace as far as my success and my ability and where I want to go in life and who I want life to be with? Words that can no longer have a place in my heart and mind. So any words that have been spoken to you, over you, whatever, write those down and then stick a line through them, because those are no longer allowed to affect you or your life. Words of growth, inspiration, hope, healthy and happy goals that I'm going to use from this day forward. Go for it. Go for it. You can do that. And so put those words down. I don't care how worthless you may feel. Put those words down, because those are true. What you're feeling is not genuine. So again, how long you allow certain people, places, and things to be in your life and affect your life is up to you. Now, sometimes it's not easy. Like I mentioned, with the abused women, and sometimes, they stay because they don't want to. And I'm just not picking on men. I know there are men that are abused too, so that can go both ways. But being really careful about that to get out, and this one organization is helping to hold the pets until this person can get out. So, there's ways to get out of situations. And so again, how you speak to yourself, stop yourself when you're saying things that are negative, stop, and then rephrase those, no matter what you actually are feeling like at the moment. So think about what makes me feel weak and ineffective, and then what makes me feel confident and powerful. Maybe you feel powerful when you're baking and you're creating all this, awesome food or art or music or sports skill, whatever it is. Think about that. What makes you feel powerful and creative, and then how you will handle future situations. So again, let God take the burden from you and replace those things with Him, okay? Because that's it. That's what's so important. And then no more dwelling on the old. Old things have passed away, according to the Bible. All things are becoming new. I'm reminding myself of that every day. So think, hey, these old things, old experiences are passing away. All things are becoming new now, today. God bless you. Thank you. And I will continue this next time.